Good morning, everyone. I'm going to take Charles with me everywhere I go. He really is he is a dear friend, and I think most of us recognize at the end of the day, life is about relationships. It's about your relationship with God, it's your relationship with your family, your friends, and it's about relationships here on Capitol Hill. And I cherish my friendship, my relationship with Charles Symington. I'm proud that he's going to be leading your organization. Yes, and that he recognizes that Energy and Commerce is the most powerful committee on Capitol Hill. Bob, thank you for your service, yes. And we know that you believe it's all about Ways and Means. Yeah, they're okay too. Welcome, and your team at Big I is really extraordinary. They represent you so well. I've been proud to have your support through the years, and just proud of who you represent, and your team, led by Bob and Charles and Nathan, and all of them represent you so well on Capitol Hill. Now, there's no substitute for you actually being here. This is representative government in action. And especially after the last few years with COVID and the lockdowns and the shutdowns and Capitol Hill being completely shut down, people not being able to come to the hearings, come and walk the halls of Congress, meet with your members, your representatives, meet with staff. It didn't work well, not at all. And it was an assault really on representative government. And we cherish that as Americans. This is the greatest experiment in self-governance that the world has ever known. We believe in people being trusted to make the best decisions for themselves, and we believe that there needs to be accountability and a balance of power in our government. That our founders, the wisdom of our founders, often amazes us that we have 3 branches of government. No one person in the United States of America is to make all the decisions. That there's accountability and there's oversight, and that the people's representatives and their voices must be reflected in the law. We believe in the rule of law. We believe that the debate around that rule of law is so important. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you participating and walking the halls of Congress and making your voices heard. And you represent the best of America. You represent small business owners. You represent entrepreneurship and innovation. In the United States of America, we cherish freedom, free markets, free speech, and it's a free people being able to take their ideas for new products and new services and do something with those ideas that has been the engine of entrepreneurship and innovation and technology that has really distinguished America from any other country around the world. And so I am just excited to be with you and spend a little time talking about what's going on Capitol Hill, and just wanted to say thank you first and foremost for being here. So yeah, I'm chair of the House Energy and Commerce Committee for the 118th Congress, and I'm kind of pinching myself. So I'm a farm. I grew up on a farm in Eastern Washington. My family owned an orchard and fruit stand, small operation, raised cherries, peaches, and apricots, sold everything at the fruit stand. And to now be not only representative for the people of Eastern Washington, but to be chair of the Energy and Commerce Committee, it's really only in America. But to bring the vision and the passion that I have for this country and the role of the elected representatives as chair is really extraordinary. And this committee, it's been around since the beginning, 1795, with that other committee, Ways and Means, yeah. But being the chairman means that you get to set the agenda. You get to pass legislation, and we have hit the ground running. Last night, you heard that we had a big vote on the House floor, which was really important for the Republicans to pass a bill out of the House. It's Limit, Save, Grow. It's around the debt ceiling, which is always a very difficult vote. I was explaining to someone just last night. She said, well, why can't you just balance the budget like this year? Well, it's as if you had maxed out your credit card, beyond maxed out your credit card, and then you want to pay it all off, balance it in 1 month, okay? It's just not possible. We have this record debt, and we have some very difficult decisions to make, but it's difficult to bring 218 people together. We had 200, I guess it was 215 to 217 last night. But to bring that number of people together to be able to support a bill, it's easy to make the perfect the enemy of the good. It's easy to say, well, we need to do this just a little bit different. And for us to be able to pass that bill and to say, you know what, we're going to limit spending. We're going to cap the spending. We're going to grow this economy. One of the biggest provisions is around energy, which I'm proud of because the committee that I chair led on H.R. 1, which is unleashing American domestic energy, which is so important because energy costs, as energy's been shut down in the United States of America, energy costs have gone up, which drives inflation. It's been one of the biggest drivers of inflation, and we have been blessed with energy resources in the United States of America, and we do it cleaner, we do it more efficient than any other country in the world with the highest environmental labor standards of any place in the world, and we need to unleash that energy as part of growing our economy. So H.R. 1 was included in the legislation last night. We also clawed back hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars in some reckless spending over the last couple of years. $6 trillion had been added to the debt just in the last 2 years. And so for us to come together and to send the Senate a message that we are here and we're serious about making some difficult decisions, but we need to do this for the United States of America, it was a good night last night. So more to come on that. We still have to get something through the Senate, get something signed by the president. In the Energy and Commerce Committee, we also passed the Halt Fentanyl Act in the first quarter. We passed over 40 bills. We've done a lot, but I wanted to highlight the Halt Fentanyl Act. It's the amount of fentanyl that is coming into the United States of America is just staggering, and it is destroying people's lives, communities. It's all over the nation. And ultimately, it's coming from China. DEA has identified 160,000 chemical plants in China that are producing the raw materials, raw ingredients, that are making their way to Mexico, and then from Mexico into the United States as well as other countries around the world. China banned fentanyl-related substances in 2019. And just to kind of put this in perspective, we have 3,000 chemical plants in the United States. So it's an enormous amount. And the devastation on communities all over this country has just been heartbreaking. So we passed the legislation to halt fentanyl, to classify fentanyl-related substances as illegal. Now, there's mandatory minimums attached to it, and there's some opposition to the mandatory minimums, so we're still working out those details. We got a couple of Democrats. We're going to work to get some more. Finally, I also wanted to highlight the work that we're doing around data privacy, data security, which I know is important to anyone that's in business today. This is long overdue. And now in the financial sector, you do have a law in place, and we have HIPAA for healthcare. But for the rest of the country, we do not have a privacy data security law, and it's long overdue. We've been working on this legislation for several years now. You may have seen that we had a hearing with TikTok, the CEO of TikTok, the end of March, and at that hearing, not only, it was a moment on Capitol Hill where the Republicans and the Democrats really expressed concerns around TikTok, but it's not just TikTok. It is other social media platforms, the activity that we're seeing, the collection of data. I don't think any of us really comprehend how much data is being collected. We have no idea where it's being stored, how it's being shared, who has access to that data, and we need to pass a privacy data security bill. We need that framework so that your data is protected and that there's provisions in place that are going to ensure that Americans that we have, and that our kids are protected. Clearly, that is a growing concern. I'm a parent with 3 kids, and yes, and we all feel the urgency around this issue. So that's going to be one of the the priorities of this Congress. We're having our sixth hearing today because there's a lot of issues to be addressed. We want to get it right as much as possible. We were just over in Europe, some members from Energy and Commerce, and we were focusing on energy and data privacy. They passed GDPR in 2015 in Europe, and the way that they approached it it's made it very difficult for small businesses, startups. It's very costly. It's a regulatory regime and requirements that add, on average, between $1 to $15 million. And so for small businesses, that's prohibitive. So that is on my heart as we approach this legislation, to make sure that we're doing it in a way that the small guys, the startups, will be able to be competitive, but that we are securing our data, that you have the ability to control. You know what your profile is, or you can tell them you don't want certain information. Well, actually, we just start with data minimization, so we limit what can be collected to begin with. And then there's more notices for the individuals. Finally, I'll just start end kind of where I started, just that it's great you're here. And I failed to talk about Down syndrome in particular, with Charles having Peter, his son, and our son Cole. So when I was elected to Congress, I was still single. I was 35, and I often say the best thing that's happened is that I got married, had 3 kids, so it's been a little chaotic in my household. And our oldest, Cole, was born with that extra 21st chromosome that most of you know as Down syndrome. And he's turning 16 on Saturday. And it's amazing to me as I reflect on the journey of when I first got the diagnosis, and Brian and I are trying to get our head around what it means. And it's very difficult to get that news. And yet, as you fast forward today, I can tell you Cole has brought me so much joy. And I feel like in some ways he's took some blinders off my eyes as far as the value, the dignity, the purpose of every life, of every person. And that we all have our strengths, we all have our challenges, but Cole inspires me every day. And when Charles first got the news, I just wanted to wrap my arms around him and just encourage him. But there's a lot of life that is unexpected. All of us have challenges and struggles, but I'll start I'll end where I started, that those relationships, caring for one another, being a part of a community, that's fundamental. And so what you do every day matters. What you do in your family matters. What you do in your communities matter. And leadership matters. And I'll say American leadership matters. We've been the hope. We've been the beacon of freedom and hope for people all over this world. And so that's why it's important that we continue to protect freedom, as Ronald Reagan said. It's not passed down in the bloodstream. It has to be fought for and defended every generation. So thanks for being here. Thanks for what you do. It matters. It's good to be with you today. Have a great day.